Assalamualaikum, my name is Izzatul Nadia binti Jamal and this video is for our group assignment with the title of Agriculture and Food Security. The issue that we have covered is climate change and our group member has 4 members. The first one is Nazatul Ashikin, Amida Amit Joyo, Nur Izzati and me, Izzatul Nadia. I will present the introduction part and I will explain about agriculture, food security and our issue which is climate change. The word agriculture is derived from the Latin, which ager means field and colo means cultivate, which when combined it will form the Latin agricultura means field or land tillage. Agriculture is defined generally in the Oxford English Dictionary in 1971 as the science and art of cultivating the land, including the associated activities of collecting in harvest and keeping livestock such as tillage, husbandry and farming. Agriculture became the main key of the rise in development of human civilization over the centuries. For over 1 million years, food was obtained by humans by hunting wild animals and collecting wild plants. They were almost entirely reliant on the natural ecosystem for food, showing that agriculture played an important role to human life. Most of Earth's population depends on agricultural production before the technology has become advanced like nowadays. Farming or growing crops allowed people to grow all of their food in one location with a much smaller number of people. The second one is food security. Food security exists when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, nutritious and safe food that meets their dietary need and food's preference for an active and healthy life. Food security is a major concern for every country in the world, including Malaysia. Malaysia is in a tough position since the need for food is growing year after year, but the supply of food products from local farmlands is insufficient to fulfill the demand. Population growth of most countries, especially in developing countries such as Malaysia, poses a serious threat to food security. With the rapid population growth, demand for food is expected to increase by 70 to 100% by 2050. Therefore, food security needs to be given more serious attention as it is an important element in Malaysia's economic growth while meeting the basic needs to millions. Besides, food security is also important to avoid hunger, malnutrition and also poverty among citizens. There are 4 pillars of food security, which is the first one is food availability, the second one is food access, the third one is food utilization and the last one is food stability and sustainability. Food security in agriculture is the important basis to ensure all the food supply to consumers are safe, secure and free from any harmful diseases or fertilizers. Despite Malaysia has established a scheme in order to supervise and maintaining the food security in our country, the Malaysian Good Agricultural Practices Scheme, MyGAP, has been introduced by the Department of Agriculture since 2002. It is a certification scheme designed to give recognition to farms in Malaysia that practice good agricultural practices. The third part is climate change. Climate change describes a change in the average condition such as temperature and rainfall in a region over a long period of time. NASA scientists have observed Earth's surface is warming and many of the warmest years on record have happened in the past 20 years. Therefore, I would like to highlight some difference between weather and climate. Weather describes the condition outside right now in a specific place. For example, if you say that it's raining outside right now, that's a way to describe today's weather. Rain, snow, wind, hurricanes, tornadoes, these are all weather events. While climate is more than just 1 or 2 rainy days. Climate describes the weather conditions that are expected in a region at a particular time of year. While global climate change refers to the average long-term changes over the entire Earth. These include warming temperatures and changes in precipitation, as well as the effects of Earth warming such as rising sea levels, shrinking mountain glaciers, ice melting at a faster rate than usual in Greenland, Antarctica and Arctic, the changes in flower and plant blooming times. However, climatic factors in Malaysia are changing rapidly. According to the United Nations Development Report, carbon dioxide emission in Malaysia rose by 221% between 1990 and 2004, and the nation has been ranked one of the world's top 30 greenhouse gas emitter. Because of significant greenhouse gas emission, the average temperature is expected to climb by 0.3 Celsius to 4.5 Celsius, causing a 95% rise in sea level over hundreds of years. Rainfall variations can be ranged from negative 30% to positive 30%. This trend will lower agricultural production and make many regions prone to drought, making cultivation of some crops difficult.
Hello, my name is Amida Anak Perempuan Amid Joyo, metric number 27179A. Okay, in this video, I would like to talk about the aims and objective of our report. First aim, the aims of this report was to gain understanding of the impacts climate change on agriculture and food security issues in Malaysia. Next is objective. Okay, we have two objectives in this report. Okay, first is to study the impact of climate change on agriculture and food security in Malaysia. Second objective, to study the most effective solutions to the impact of climate change on agriculture and food security in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nazatul Ashikin 269693. I will start to explain the impact of climate change on food security. There are three impacts related. The first one is the impact of climate change on food security threatens agriculture and food production. Climate change such as higher temperature, water scarcity, and floods already begun to impact crops around the world. In Vietnam, rising sea levels threat to food security. The salt water is more likely to flood coastal farmland that will kill off rice crops, while in Malaysia experiencing temperature rise and large variation in rainfall trends. The frequency of relatively drier years has increased for the whole Malaysia that will lead dry paddy yield. The second impact of climate change to food security is limit food access. If climate change affects food production, it stands to reason that it also affects food access. Supply and demand has big impacts. Climate change and weather disaster can lead to inflated prices for the food available. These price spikes leave the poorest households most vulnerable, with their spending up to 75% of their total budget on the food alone. The last impact is climate change increases food waste. Higher rainfalls can produce toxic mold on crops. Crops that grow and then move into humid storage facilities are vulnerable to fungal infections. The more climate change becomes commonplace, the more food loss on an annual basis. According to UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, roughly one-third of the food produced by farmers is lost between the field and the market in low-income countries as well as middle-income and high-income countries. As we can see, with increasingly global nature of food system, but this cannot happen in isolation. We must foster global solidarity with the most climate vulnerable communities and countries with high-income countries, taking responsibility for both mitigating the causes of climate change and supporting low and middle-income countries in adapting to the effects of these changes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Izzati binti Muhammad. Metric number 273635. I will start my presentation. My part is how to improve agriculture and food security that caused by the climate change.
The first point is use low carbon mobility. Excessive climate change caused by ozone layer is the major cause of global warming. Another of the reason, the release of carbon monoxide from vehicle toxic smoke, which is caused by the depletion of the ozone layer. Users are advised to use the public transport and car sharing to avoid vehicle smoke emission. Using those public transport will help to reduce the traffic congestion and air pollution. Next is second point is conservation and reforestation to address the problem flood in Malaysia, where the major disasters such as floods and flash floods and landslides occur due to factors of logging and deforestation. Implementation of forest conservation measure as well as replanting of affected forest area need to be focused to prevent a natural disaster from occurring. And logging and deforestation should be prevented as these are the main cause of the flood and reforestation activities that have been lost should be done continuously with prompt planting and quality species. Atmospheric pressure can be maintained in this way, and the problem of temperature hike which cause the climate change can be avoided. And the point number 3 is agriculture education from primary school. Teaching agriculture to elementary and middle school allow them to gain a better grasp on how things grow and live. To ensure everyone understand the significance of reducing food waste and raise the awareness of the necessities of the food safety. Beginning agriculture education at a young age allow the youngster to gain perspective on their life and their surroundings. And there's several others way that we can do to to improve our agriculture and food security that caused by the climate change. Okay, that's all from me, and thank you.
Okay, the last one is conclusions. So I would like to conclude our presentations in this video. So in Malaysia, climate change and agriculture practice are generally seen have to be connected one with other in a circular way. Potential changes in climate can reduce productivity and output in agricultural industry. It has implication for world food security and farm incomes. Since most of developing countries, including Malaysia, are located in lower latitude regions. Okay, in this video, we also give some example of the negative impacts of climate change to agriculture and also the food security, and we give some of the recommendations. So what I would like to conclude here, climate is a major threat for sustainable agriculture for Malaysia, as climate is continuously changing and affecting the agriculture in diversified ways. A good measurement of its impacts on sustainable agriculture and adaptations are needed to ensure long-run agriculture sustainability in Malaysia. So that's all from us. Thank you for watching.